Hi, my name is Jonathan Vinocour. I'm principal violist of the San Francisco Symphony, and I'm down here coaching at New Worlds, and thought I would give a little presentation about the Mendelssohn Scherzo excerpt. This is an excerpt that pretty much anybody who ever takes an audition is guaranteed to play. It's often used in preliminary rounds, at least prelims. I know I've had to play it maybe in every round of certain auditions, so it's a really good one to master. I think this excerpt is so commonly used because it reveals a lot about certainly somebody's bow control with the spiccato stroke, their sense of pulse, and equally importantly, their sense of style and charm, I guess I would say. So I think it's important to find a very reliable stroke for it, but also one that has a lot of energy and character, the right character for the excerpt. We don't want it to sound too virtuosic. It has to be full of life, but not too energetic, I guess I would say, just so that there's a sense of fun about it, basically. A couple of things that I think that in order to achieve that for the stroke, what you want to find is something that's off the string enough that you're letting the string ring and have little pings on each individual stroke if possible, so that there's resonance on each of the individual notes if possible. And I guess the trick for that is just letting the bow bounce naturally. If you let the bow kind of stay on the string for the stroke, it tends to deaden the ring of the instrument. So I think that's why the spiccato is there, to give it life, basically. Another thing that helps to enliven the excerpt is a little bit of vibrato throughout, basically, but particularly on eighth notes. So something like... All of these little eighth notes that you have are opportunities to just inject a little bit of life and vibrato into it. And then later in the tune part of the excerpt, it's not really possible to be vibrating every 16th note of it, but there should be a quality in the left hand throughout of just kind of light and lively fingers so that it doesn't sound too serious, basically. The tune has a way of, even though it's in a major key, of coming across as very serious often from behind the screen. So I think it's just thinking about a lively left hand fingertips feeling throughout the tune is helpful for that. What else? One thing, often people are so focused on pulse and rhythm through this excerpt that they forget about something else that's very important, which is intonation. So particularly during the tune, there are a lot of intervals that if you're not listening carefully as you prepare the excerpt, you end up not really playing it very in tune, and that is pretty noticeable too. So somebody may play it with perfect pulse and stroke, but if the intonation is not there, then that will also get you eliminated, basically. Okay, well, I've said a lot about the excerpt, so I think now I will run it and show you how I think it should be played, ideally. so I hope that is helpful, and wow, it felt like playing an audition again. I haven't done it in a while. It was fun. Hope you enjoyed. So one other point about the Mendelssohn Scherzo is that I found from being on the other side of the screen, listening to auditions, that often it sounds like people are playing it a little bit too fast. Rarely does it happen that I think, oh, that's just not fast enough. So the lesson that I would take away from that is that I think that in an audition you have a little extra bit of kind of nervous energy. And so if you've been practicing the excerpt at the ideal tempo, say 88 beats to the minute, if you then have that extra bump of energy, I think you may end up playing it a little too quickly. And then the sense of charm and fun and scherzando is lost, and it just comes across as being let me show you my great spiccato kind of excerpt. So I like to practice it a little bit slower, like maybe 84 beats to the minute or something, so that it feels very just kind of calm and scherzando. So one other thing about preparing for auditions in general that I find helpful is as you're getting ready for an audition and you have many different excerpts to prepare, sometimes these lists are very big. My own personal strategy is to, when the audition is still fairly far away, is to not try to work on many different excerpts in a day. I'll focus on maybe just a few, maybe three or four excerpts, and work in depth on them. And then I keep a kind of chart to show what excerpts I've worked on what days, so I can visually just look at it and say, oh, I haven't looked at Enliven in a long time, I better spend some time on it. And as the audition gets closer, then I try to do more just running through of the excerpts, still working in depth on certain ones, but I think it's good to get used to playing all of them more frequently as the audition gets nearer. So, but I think sometimes people feel like they should try to work on everything throughout the whole process, and I think it's hard to really do the in-depth work that you should be doing if you're trying to hit all of the rep.
If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for classical music performances and educational videos each week. You can check out another video by clicking the thumbnail on screen. To watch full concerts, visit media.nws.edu.